All right, hello. This is intended to be a very brief, very basic overview of getting set up to conduct a meeting in Zoom. So as you can see, I have Google pulled up. I can get to Zoom two ways. I can search for it in the search bar here, or I can just type the address into the address bar up here, zoom.us. And as you notice, I actually am already signed in. When you sign in yourself, you'll have to create an account, and you can do so. I recommend doing it with your at jeffersonunion.net account, and it will recognize you as being a part of a school, and it will automatically give you a basic plus kind of account to be able to give you access to certain things for free. You'll also have to download something with Zoom, and it'll prompt you to do so when you host your first meeting. But before we even get into that, I want to show you a few things in the settings. And so I'm going to go over here. And here I can see a few of my different settings, my basic information. And I want to click right here to settings. And I just want to review a few things. First, making sure that I am hosting the video, start meeting with the host video on. And then I can scroll through and look. There's a few things I just want to highlight, like you can click this and this will allow others to join your meeting before you arrive as the host. That's automatically turned off. That might be a feature you want to leave off if you don't want students entering into the ID link before you actually arrive. A few other things that you can do that are of note as I'm just kind of scrolling down in the basics is right here in the chat. There's a chat feature that we'll go over in just a second, and you can actually turn that off if for whatever reason you don't want students to be chatting during the meeting. I would recommend leaving it on. I think it's a nice way to see students ask questions without actually having to use their microphone. But you can also turn on and off private chats. So a student can send a question directly to you if it's a private chat, but they can also send private chats to one another. So you'll have to determine if that is something that you want to leave on. Another really key thing just to kind of get you started that might be of note during this. One thing you also want to see just really quickly is the whiteboard feature. We'll highlight that in just a moment. But you want to definitely make sure that's clicked on. And breakout rooms. That's another thing that you want to click on. I'm not going to go over breakout rooms in this tutorial. I have another one for those. But yeah, that's just the basics to kind of get you started. So let's go over exactly how to start a meeting. So you'll notice I have these three things up here. I can schedule a meeting. I can join a meeting if I have the ID, or I can host a meeting. I'm going to host a meeting right now, and I actually am brave, and so I'm going to join and host this meeting with video on. So I'm going to click that. See me in just a second. I am going to say, okay, yes, I do want to open the application, and I'm already in another meeting that I was trying out, but I do want to leave this one and join this one. So wait a moment for that to launch. And then I am going to join with the computer audio. And there I am. And so we have a lot of options still too available within this screen if you want to explore some other settings. One is that you can click this invite here to invite your participants by email, or copy the URL, or copy the invitation to send it. In just a moment, I'll be inviting my attendee, and this is how I'll get the URL to send that off. You could also post that URL in your Google Classroom. A couple of other settings that you have available to you here. You can manage your participants. I'll show you more about that when I actually have a participant in here. I can share my screen, and if you notice, if you click this little arrow going up next to sharing screen, you can have access to a couple of different features, like only allowing one participant to share at a time, or to allow multiple participants to share simultaneously if you wanted students or whoever to be able to share their screen as well. You can even hit advanced sharing options. And if you're more comfortable doing so, this is where you would be able to set it to say that only you would be able to share your screen, that only one person can share at a time, all of those features. Another feature that you have over here is to edit things within the video. There we go. This is where students are going to choose those virtual backgrounds that you'll see. For some reason, it won't let me. It's very sad for me on this computer, but that is where you'll see them doing that. Over here, if I click the little arrow over here, I can mess with some of my sound settings. Mostly the default settings for the microphone on your computer is what you want. It's good enough. So now I'm going to go and actually invite my participants. So again, I'm going to go back over here to invite. I'm going to copy the URL, and then I'm going to go to an email I already set up. Send to my husband is going to be my participant. So I'm going to send him an email to do this. And again, I could have posted that URL right into my Google Classroom or wherever it would have made sense to have it. And so now I'm waiting for him to get that email and to join our Zoom chat. But you'll notice a feature right over here. Right now, I'm the only one that's in this room. But when you see I have a couple of features right over here that I'm going to be able to use once he gets here. One that you might find really helpful is this mute all. So participants do have the option of muting and unmuting themselves, but I also have the power to mute everybody in the room if there's a discussion and I want to interrupt to give more information. You'll actually even notice that over here, when you pop up the screen, it gives the option to mute participants upon entry. That might be really handy so that you can have everybody come in and then give directions. This is where you can kind of have it so that they can, hello, and you are using that virtual background, which looks like quite strange. And play enter and exit chimes when people come in and out of the room, all of those kinds of features. So right now he's muted. I can actually come over here if I want and say unmute all, and it's going to give him a request that the host is asking that he unmutes his microphone. But just as we all want to be able to do in real life, I can sit here and mute him again, just as easily, you know, without his choice. It just automatically muted him with something along those lines. So this is where you can also see the chat right here. And this is the feature I can say, hello, class. But I can say that to everyone, or if I had multiple people in the room, I could just say privately to Jose, hello. And that now would just go to Jose or anybody else that would be in the room if I chose to do so. So yeah, that's mainly the features of this. Jose, could you actually, there's one other last thing. You notice I have this little reaction button down here. Your students might have access to that as well, and so they might hit that, and you'll notice that it very temporarily puts a little check mark up, and Jose just did it as well. That might be a way to kind of check to make sure students are listening or checking for understanding with something like that. And like I said, this breakout room feature here, we went over in another video because it's a little bit of a longer, more advanced feature. But really, this is the basics of Zoom. We're pretty much up and running, and this is what we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting by Jose. And it'll give me this little thing, and I'll say, not just leave the meeting, I'm going to end the meeting for all. And that is the basics of Zoom. Thank you for watching.